The only thing more mesmerizing than the play, the double dribble. I'll make the argument it made the play better. Also, whether Durant and Curry are the best duo in NBA history, and an around the horn investigation into PK Subban's threat. Let's go around the horn.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony
The
Reale.
Cavaliers were in this exact position last year, down 0-2, minus 40 plus in the first two games. But that was a Warriors team that was trying to be the best of all time, but without a healthy Steph Curry and without Kevin Durant. This is 2 games away from being the best of all time with the healthy Steph Curry and Kevin Durant doing that. Jay Adanda, you were there. We'll start with you. What's the number one way Durant is making this year different, and what can the Cavaliers do about it?
Well, he's giving them that option that they didn't have, that there's no way to cheat against them. Last year, the Cavaliers were able to leave Harrison Barnes alone, let him shoot as much as he wanted. He wasn't able to hurt them. You can't do that with Kevin Durant. So now you have to pay attention to him. It means you less attention to Curry and Klay Thompson and everyone else out there. Durant is being so effective defensively, impacting the game. Draymond Green's long been their best defensive player. He's outplaying Draymond Green defensively, so it's like they have 2 Draymond Greens in a way. How do you counter it? You really can't worry about Durant. I think you have to try to do things with other players. For example, you can get the ball in Curry's hands as they did successfully and try to make Draymond Green beat you from outside. You can also maybe try to punish Curry on defense. Alter your lineups and try to get Curry in the pick and roll and switch so he's guarding a Kyrie Irving or maybe even LeBron.
That sounds simple. I guess they'll do that in games 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we'll be going home the other way. Tim Kalish, how about you?
Kevin Durant, I mean, we've seen him play good defense at times in Oklahoma City. I think he's playing great defense in this series. You throw that on top of the 35 points and 10 rebounds, and it's way, way too much for the Cavaliers to handle right now. I mean, the Warriors' margin for error is huge. They can have 1 or 2 key guys not really doing much, like Klay Thompson offensively in Game 1 or Draymond Green offensively in that same game, and they're still winning these games by 20. It didn't even help that the turnovers got completely reversed. The Cavaliers did a lot of the things they thought they were supposed to do. They won the turnover battle last night 20-9. They got more shots than the Warriors after giving up 20 more shots in Game 1. And they still gave up 132 points.
That's exactly right, Tim Kalish. I had a panel here on Friday, which Sarah Spain was a part of, and now we'll welcome Sarah Spain to the show, that said they got to force turnovers. The Cavaliers, if they can force turnovers, maybe it'll be different. They did. It wasn't different in the end, Sarah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they've both mentioned on both sides of the court, when KD's the primary defender, the Cavs are only shooting 37%, and he makes LeBron work so hard to beat him on defense that he's more tired on the offensive end. Then on the offensive side, he's a third perimeter threat, so they have to play every man straight up. They can't cheat. There's no help side, and that's just making it impossible. Who do you stop, especially when Klay Thompson finally finds his shot? So, yeah, you can try to make them use Draymond Green more offensively. You can try to maybe get him in foul trouble or tire out Curry on the defensive end. But what we've seen is that whichever guy steps up the most, there's 2 other guys that are also stepping up enough to get it done, even when they don't win the turnover battle.
Pablo Torre.
People don't like to hear that last year's Warriors were maybe the best team of all time, but when you add Kevin Durant and replace Harrison Barnes, this is what happened. Because, look, Harrison Barnes has been outscored by Kevin Durant through 3 games. Harrison Barnes had 65 points in the entirety of the 2016 finals. Kevin Durant has 66 in 3 games, right? So Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, by the way, happen to be the second pair of teammates to average at least 30 points a game in the first 3 games of an NBA Finals. First to do it since 1962 with Magic Johnson and Elgin Baylor. So the talent level on this team is such that there is a gap that the most talented player maybe in NBA history cannot close in LeBron James, and that is the difference. You finally got enough talent, so LeBron is actually nullified.
Adonde back in, then Spain.
Pablo, what kind of math they teaching you at Harvard? 2 games so far, Pablo.
2 games.
I can understand your excitement for Game 3 because this is only the most significant Game 3 in NBA Finals history because it's the first in which a record can be set. It's a possible 15-0 start, and it's also the only thing standing in the way of the Warriors with the opportunity to sweep through the entire playoffs, something that's never been done.
So you think this is,
games.
wait, I want to get that right again. So this is the most important Game 3 in the history of the NBA.
We've never had one with so much history at stake in this Game
Would
3.
you
where
make
history
the
can be
argument
made in
that
Game
Pablo
3.
kind of just got to, Pablo's still worried about 2 or 3, that these Warriors, should they win this important Game 3 and then sweep in 4, are the greatest team in the history of basketball, Jay Don?
No, it'd be the greatest accomplishment, but for example, it might not even be the greatest playoff squad. For example, those 2001 Lakers that only went 15-1 through the playoffs. I mean, who's going to stop Shaquille O'Neal if those Lakers played these Warriors?
Sarah, Spain, same question to you. Are the Warriors, should they win the most important game they're in for, the greatest team ever?
There was an interesting stat out of Westgate in Vegas that said if they played the 95-96 Bulls, they would be a -6.5 favorite. To me, the difference is not the talent that's on the team, because that's almost undeniable. The difference is the talent on the opposition. And the power structure in the NBA has changed so much that what it requires of a team to get through other teams is not as much as it used to. That's why we're seeing them potentially sweep the entire
Sarah
playoffs.
wearing that
That's not a knock
Chicago
on them,
Bull
it's a
red.
knock on competition.
Okay,
That's
knock
right.
on competition. I've heard that before when you guys win a show as well. So we'll let that sit for a little while. It's an argument to have should they win the next 2 games. Let's talk about the play of the night for me, Curry's move on LeBron, because this was so mesmerizing. The Instagram account Ball God had slowed down the slowdown, and it's a double dribble right here. Does that change it for you, Tim Calishaw, or does that make it better? I'll argue it makes it better solely because nobody even knew it was a double dribble in real time.
It doesn't make it better. I mean, that's the reason, if you watch it, when he puts the second hand on the ball, LeBron leaves his feet and starts to jump. He wouldn't be doing that otherwise. And I looked at it differently anyway. I thought it's great defense by LeBron James. He gets no help from anybody on his team, and Curry had to make 19 different moves to get around him to get that layup.
Pablo?
None of us noticed this until there was a slow-mo phantom cam kind of video. And look, the great crossovers in NBA history all have some sleight of hand, some close-up magic to it, right? Allen Iverson allegedly carried on every crossover. For me, this is a spirit of the law
I don't need
thing.
allegedly there.
I praise the move. That's how hard it is.
Dante?
Yeah, you only notice it once it's slowed down. I mean, the officials couldn't see it in real time. Nobody noticed it, even the first couple replays that you saw. More significant, though, was the fact that Curry still had, again, the escapability, the explosiveness to get away from LeBron, because LeBron couldn't track him down even after that alleged double dribble. LeBron couldn't track him down and block the shot as he did last year. Last year, that shot would have been in the seats. And so that's part of
I think 99 times out of 100 this year that's in the seats.
But it's the different Curry that we're seeing in this series that we didn't have.
Sarah, how about you?
I mean, you guys are all saying that nobody noticed it live. I'll tell you who did. Fred Hoiberg, sitting in a lawn chair somewhere at a lake house. He's watching that and saying, man, it's just like Isaiah Thomas. If only they'd call that, we'd all have a chance. No, I agree. If you don't see it live, it's the kind of sleight of hand that you admire instead of resent.
Okay. You know what people saw live? They saw Curry lying down with the towel over his head at the start of the fourth quarter. Some thought it was disrespectful. Sarah, something or nothing?
Yeah, I'm going to go full get off my lawn on this one and say it's absolutely disrespectful. There's more than 10 minutes left in this game. At least don't put the towel over your face so you can't watch. Not only are you disrespecting your teammates that are out there still playing, you're disrespecting the opponent and saying that this 12-point game is so out of hand that it's not even necessary to watch. You could be in a finals that only lasts 4 games. You can't sit on the bench and watch those 4 games. I didn't like it at all.
Jay, how about you?
Sarah, he gets a pass because no one's been more supportive of his teammates, of the guys that get a chance to play late in the blowouts when the Warriors have so many blowouts, than Steph Curry. You've seen him celebrating all their success. So he gets a chance to rest and do whatever he takes. And if you want to talk disrespect, nothing was more disrespectful than when the Cavaliers were flipping bottles on the Knicks in the late blowout in Madison Square Garden, which I loved, by the way.
Oh, the water bottle toss. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Calishaw, how about you?
You know, we've seen Steve Nash and other players with back problems lay down. Maybe Curry, from all these moves and these travels that take a lot out of you, that when they don't get seen, maybe he needed to rest a little bit. I don't know. I don't think he kept the towel over his head for a long time while the game went on.
Pablo?
If people want to critique Steph Curry because we're not consistently criticizing him in the way that we would other players for doing similar things, I understand that. But I don't want an athletically humble Steph Curry. The most fun Steph Curry is a healthy and disrespectful Steph Curry who, as Klay Thompson put it, shoots like he's arrogant, whether he is or not. That's how he plays, and this extends to that too.
Did you guys hear in the middle of that fourth quarter as well, Jeff Van Gundy, he called Durant and Curry maybe the best duo in NBA history. So I'll ask you the same exact question. We got LeBron, we got Shaq and Kobe. We got Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. We got Deion Waiters and anybody on a 10-day contract. Is Durant and Curry the greatest duo in NBA history, Pablo?
I think they're in the conversation. I think Jordan and Pippen, Shaq and Kobe on production, I put them ahead of two guys who are only 2 games into this NBA Finals, guys. Only 2 games. So that much, I give a little bit of leeway to the guys.
You could throw LeBron and Wade in there too, Adonde? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Let's let them win 3 rings, and then we can sit down and start having this conversation, but it's way too soon to start having that talk.
If we have it just, though, playing the game of basketball at the current time, we don't need to do history. Of course, we know they don't have 3 rings. Kalishaw, same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, they're better. They're the best scoring duo, best shooting, pure shooting duo ever. And we used to say that way back when, a year ago, about Curry and Klay Thompson. And now we've got Klay Thompson, who needs a little help just getting that quick shot off, and turned it into a 6'11" guy who can shoot from 25 feet.
But are they better than Magic and Kareem as a duo, let's say?
No, you can't say that yet.
Spain, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Pablo. It's prisoner of the moment talk.
Okay.
First of all, if you're taking the 2 guys separately, is Kevin Durant better than Jordan? No. Is Steph Curry better than Pippen? In my estimation, as a complete player, no. Curry can be a liability.
There we go. The
defense, while
Chicago
Pippen was
Bull
a
Red
shutdown
comes out
defender.
again.
Hey,
All
man,
right.
I'm just telling the
Anybody
truth
going
over
to oppose
here.
Sarah on that? That's fine. Pablo, you want to oppose that?
Jordan and Pippen, I mean, they're number 1 in my book for right now.
Okay.
No,
all right. There you go.
Back on that much.
You also made Pablo speechless, Sarah, so another point for
That's
that.
okay.
Last
It
one, and we'll get out of here.
happens.
LeBron and podiums. I'm not convinced anybody cares about this, by the way, other than you people who are in the media, but he's not going to the podium, doesn't like waiting. Is that something to be miffed about, J.A.?
Well, the problem is not LeBron going to the podium. The problem is that none of the role players have had a podium game to get there in his stead. Nobody has earned the right and stepped up and had that podium-type game. So that's a bigger issue for the Cavaliers than whether or not LeBron speaks in the locker room.
Kalishaw on podiums, is this
I just hate the whole podium thing and what it's become, and it becomes Draymond Green goes after reporter answering a question last night. He didn't exactly go after the reporter. The whole podium thing is horrible.
All right, we're breaking right now as we get out of here. We'll go out with the non-podium exchange LeBron had when a reporter asked him if holding home court was important. LeBron answered him with a question of his own, and the question was, are you a smart guy? I'd love to know how you answer the question, are you a smart guy? What's the answer? Is it yes or no?
The answer is always no.
The answer is always no, Pablo?
Oh, there's no upside there. I answered yes before. And
We'll be back. Buy ourselves next.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Jaguar, the art of performance.
Performance.
No home ice advantage in hockey. Listen to this. Predators are 8-1 this postseason in Nashville, where they are tonight. I got a couple questions for you guys. Have Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban ever hugged humans before? Also, is this series now about Subban's breath? Because Crosby said, Subban said Crosby said it smells.
Hey, everyone.
Crosby said Subban never said it smells. Peter Laviolette is reading SNL cue cards, by the way. That's what this series is about now, telling home fans not to throw things. So a lot to consider as we get into maybe the most important game 4 in NHL history, Adonde. What to buy, what to sell.
I'm buying the home ice advantage being a real thing here. They're 8-1 there in the postseason. And the fans now have extra reason to believe, because guess what? They can tie this series up. They made a difference in Game 3. I think they'll be an even bigger factor in Game 4.
And Kalishaw?
Let them know the catfish.
I hate the idea that there won't be any catfish flopping on the ice. Maybe somebody won't pay attention to Peter Laviolette's really nice read there. But it's not going to affect the Predators. They've been the better team in every game. I realize the Penguins won a couple because they scored more goals. The Predators are the better team. They're proving it night after night.
That's how you win
they got 30
games,
more
though,
shots
too,
on
Kevin.
goal. They'll continue to prove it tonight.
Sarah Spink.
Yeah, I would rather see Listerine bottles thrown on the ice now if we're going to outlaw the catfish. I love this argument, and I love
Nicely done,
PK's
Sarah.
comment afterwards. But also, yeah, the difference here is Pekka Rinne is playing back the way he was at the start of the postseason. And as Tim said, they've outshot the Pens every single game. It's just been a matter of letting in too many on there, and I think they're going to continue their streak of 8-1 at home.
Who do you believe
and
in the
take this
Subban
one.
Crosby, since you brought it up? I mean, Subban clearly made that up, right?
I believe PK. It seems like a very weird thing to make up, and it seems like something you just throw out there in the heat of the moment if you were Crosby.
Sorry?
I just like how that qualifies as a hockey trash talk controversy in the NBA. We were talking about Honey Nut Cheerios
No
and
one's mom is
wives,
up
and now
in
we're
here.
talking about Listerine.
Wives and moms
and all
and
that. But what I would say is if Laviolette wanted to get people to stop throwing catfish, he would be a little bit more explicit and clear about hey, we may be penalized for this part. That was kind of buried, and that's the only reason why a Nashville fan may want to keep the catfish on their person.
This is how Canadians fight. They talk about the ref. It's okay. We'll move on. Buy or sell 2. Seahawks signing Austin Davis to back up Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll has been so effusive in the last couple of days about Colin Kaepernick, saying he's a starter in this league, but they don't sign Kaepernick. From Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, Seahawks made the strategic decision not to add a player they regard as starting caliber because they already have a starter. Tim, you buy or sell that?
I got to sell this. I did see Austin Davis have a great game against the Cowboys while he was at the Rams, but he's 3-7 as a pro quarterback, and he's not as good as Colin Kaepernick. And I would just say Colin Kaepernick's agent has done a very poor job of making it clear to the world that his client wants to play, wants to be a backup, will play for a reasonable amount of money, because it's all just speculation, and I think that's hurt Kaepernick through this whole process.
Yeah, you got to sell the idea that Colin Kaepernick is too good to be our backup. We want to make sure when our starter goes down, we have a real backup in place. Now, he did have 132 passer rating when he played for the Rams against the Seahawks, so maybe it's a matter of Pete Carroll looking at a guy who torched his team and thinking that he's greater than he is. Or maybe it's a matter of personality. He doesn't want to bring in someone that's not going to serve as a useful helper for Russell Wilson and instead might be too much of a...
But the personality management thing, you'd figure if it's not going to be the Seahawks and Pete Carroll, then who else can be that sort of a home for a guy like that? But Tim's right. Colin Kaepernick is retweeting Mike Freeman over at Bleacher Report saying that salary wasn't the issue, but we'd like something more than that because that's the only thing that people keep mentioning. Otherwise, it seems, by the way, like NFL teams just don't want to win that badly if this guy just goes unsigned, even if he's wanting to be a star.
Last team Austin Davis threw a pass for was the Cleveland Browns. And if the famous Cleveland Browns can move on from a quarterback from 2015, then they have to sell the idea of Seattle bringing that quarterback in.
Buy or sell 3, Thad Matta out at Ohio State. What sounded like after the season, when they had the press conference today, became right now. Matt said he needed to focus on his health. He had back problems. Sarah, you buy or sell this?
Man, this is one of those ones that's so tough. You've got a guy that out of 12 out of his 13 seasons had 20-plus wins and seems like someone who, when it dips below, they shouldn't immediately move on from. But he's got a decade of health issues, too many players that are transferring to other teams, and they only have 9 scholarships. If you can't recruit anymore and if you're not getting it done, I guess you got to cut the cord before it's too late.
All right.
The health thing is real. I mean, Steve Kerr is always makes the point of saying if you don't have to get back surgery, don't get it because there are complications there. But Thad Matta, this has been a guy on the hot seat for way longer than just the recent news cycle. The fact is, Gene Smith, the AD, said today that recruiting was one of the big issues, and that's been plaguing this program for a couple of years.
Amazing. The seat's been so hot when he's the all-time leader in winning percentage in the Big Ten Conference. But if recruiting is an issue and a back is an issue, those two things don't go well together because a guy with a bad back doesn't need to be spending a lot of time on planes flying around to talk to teenagers.
I'm buying this 3 years. It doesn't seem like long, but 3 years without finishing in the top 25 is a big deal in a big program. And this is the price you pay when ADs watch Northwestern Wildcats win an NCAA tournament game. They say, what are you doing over there?
Oh, the dig.
Scores today. Spain, Torrey, usually that's 28 points, 23, enough to get you into the showdown. Not here. Adane and Kalishaw, and as we go to break here, I want to take a look at a video daily double, let's call it. Adane, is he too thirsty in the background here for Durant and Neymar together with the cap? Look at the hand position. Portrait mode.
It's the Applebee's Big Bold Grill Combos. Try a chicken combo comboed with a ribs combo. It's the combo of combos comboed. 2 meats, 2 sides. Big Bold Grill.
Adane Kalishaw showdown. There was zero build-up for Pujols' chase for 600, but he got 600 on the Grand Slam. Recently told USA Today he wants the opportunity to break Bonds' 762. Play odds makers, Adane. Chances of doing that.
Well, he had to go there, but I'll give him a good chance because, look, he hit more than 70 homers the past 2 seasons. He's on track for another 30 home runs this season, 4 years on the contract. You know he's going to play it out and get that money. He could get there.
Don't think he's going to quite get to that number. I do give him at least a 50-50 shot to get to 700, which is remarkable. And the biggest thing, credit to this man, has never had a 100 strikeout season in his career.
I think closer to 700 than 762. We'll give the point to Kalishaw. Yeah. Biggest sporting event in the world this weekend. Real Madrid 4, Juventus 1. The 1 should have counted for 3. That ball didn't touch the ground for like an hour. And then the bicicleta from then. But Ronaldo is the champ. And for the UV fans, smoke him if you got him. Y fuma, que tu fumai. What's the most appealing piece of video here, Tim?
Okay, I know it's a nice goal, but we don't get to see a lot of video of people smoking anymore now that Mad Men's not on the air, unless you're watching 1940s movies. That is impressive to get it down to that little nub.
Tim, did you watch the match? Every time they cut into the stand, you saw somebody smoking. There was so much smoke rising up in that stadium. That goal is a once-in-a-lifetime goal. Even the soccer snobs, the aficionados, said they had never seen a goal like that in Champions League play.
But Ronaldo's the champ. It always comes back to Ronaldo, doesn't it? FaceTime, J.A. Adan.
Last week I wrote for The Undefeated about seeing the picture of the racial slur that was spray painted at LeBron James's house in Los Angeles and what it did to me, that effect that it had. A lot of people wondered why I didn't publish the picture. I didn't want to give the losers that committed this hate crime the satisfaction of seeing their work spread across the internet. And for those that doubt whether or not it happened, I can say I have seen it. So chill the conspiracy theories out there as well. And it's also, let's diminish the hate crimes, please, and let's not try to have any more stories like this, any more photographs like this. Let's give credit to the women that posted those positive signs outside LeBron James's house, calling him a role model and humanitarian. Let's have more people like that.
As a professor of journalism, is there any benefit to posting or publishing a hate crime visually?
Sometimes there can be, as LeBron referenced, the Emmett Till and making people aware, but people did not need to see this. They know it's out there.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
I agree.
Happy Hour is presented by Guinness Blonde American Lager.